Hello everyone. Today I am going to explain about the plasma membrane. We all know that living organisms are made up of cells, and a cell is made up of different parts, and one such important part of cell is plasma membrane. It is also known as cell membrane. Plasma membrane is the outermost protective layer of the cell which separates the cell from the external environment. It is made up of lipid, protein and carbohydrate. The plasma membrane behaves similar to the door of a house. It guards the entry and exit of a particles or any foreign substances in and out of the cell. Interestingly, not all the molecules can enter into the cell. The plasma membrane allows only a specific kind of molecules enter into the cell. Hence it is known as selectively permeable. In plant cell, the plasma membrane present next to the cell wall, and in animal cell it is the outermost protective layer of the cell. In this video, we are going to look at the plasma membrane in detail. If you look at the plasma membrane under the electron microscope, we can see the mosaic of different molecules moving around in a fluid way. Hence, the plasma membrane is known as fluid mosaic in nature. The structure and composition of the plasma membrane is explained in detail by the help of fluid mosaic model, and it was proposed by scientists Singer and Nicholson. The plasma membrane is made up of three components, that is phospholipids, cholesterol and protein. In phospholipids, it consists of mainly two parts, that is head and tail. Head which is pointing towards the outward and tail pointing towards inward. And head which containing phosphate molecule which is polar in nature and it attracts towards the water molecule. Hence it is known as hydrophilic. And tail containing fatty acids and it is non-polar in nature. It repels from the water and is known as hydrophobic in nature. You can clearly see here the arrangement of phospholipid, the individual phospholipids in the plasma membrane. The individual phospholipids, they are arranged in a two layer, hence it is known as bilayer of phospholipid. Here, the head of the phospholipid which is pointing towards the outward and the tail of the two layer which pointing towards each other. The next component is cholesterol. The main function of cholesterol in the plasma membrane is it helps in the permeability and flexibility of the plasma membrane. The third component of plasma membrane is protein. In protein, there are mainly three types of proteins are there. That is integral proteins, peripheral protein and glycoprotein. The integral protein, it helps in the movement or transportation of the molecules in and out of the cell. You can clearly see here the movement of molecules in and out of the cell with the help of carrier proteins. Peripheral protein, it helps in the communication and transport of molecules. And glycoproteins, which helps in the cell recognition. Next, we will discuss about the function of plasma membrane. The plasma membrane mainly helps in the transportation of different kinds of molecules in mainly three ways. Passive transport, active transport and bulk transport. The first one is passive transport. Here, the movement of molecules across the membrane without the help of energy, that is known as passive transport. The first one is diffusion. It is one form of the passive transport. Here, the movement of molecules from higher concentration to the lower concentration takes place. That is known as diffusion. You can clearly see here. Then the second one is facilitated diffusion. Here, the movement of molecules from higher concentration to the lower concentration, but with the help of carrier protein or specific kind of proteins. And if water molecules move across the membrane with the help of passive transport, that is known as osmosis. Here, aquaporins are involved in the transportation. The next one is active transport. Here, the movement of molecules across the membrane with the help of energy, which is in the form of ATP. Here, the movement of molecules from lower concentration to the higher concentration takes place across the membrane. It is known as active transport. Example for active transport, that is sodium-potassium bond. Inside the cell, it moves from the lower concentration to the higher concentration with the help of energy. And the potassium, which is present outside the cell, which move inside the cell with the help of ATP. And third one is bulk transport. Here, the movement of larger substances in and out of the cell, that is known as bulk transport. The movement of larger substances in and out of the cell. During this process, the plasma membrane, it engulfs the foreign particles into the cell. That process is known as endocytosis. And in endocytosis, there are different ways are there. That is phagocytosis, pinocytosis, receptor-mediated endocytosis. The first one is phagocytosis, that is engulfment of solid particles into the cell. And pinocytosis means engulfment of liquid particles into the cell. And the third one is receptor-mediated endocytosis. Here, the receptor which is present in the plasma membrane, it will recognize the foreign particles and it will engulf the foreign particle and form a vesicle and it will engulf into the cell. And the last one is exocytosis. Here, the waste particles or the foreign particles which is present inside the cell, it will move out of the cell. Exo means external. The movement of particles outside the cell. Next, we will revise the cell transport, that is passive transport, active transport and bulk transport. In passive transport, it doesn't require energy, and in active transport, it requires energy which is in the form of ATP. And the last one, bulk transport. In bulk transport, the movement of particles with the help of vesicles and metabolic energy. And bulk transport takes place with the help of endocytosis, pinocytosis, receptor endocytosis and exocytosis. It's all about the structure, composition and function of the plasma membrane. Thank you.